Hey everybody, welcome to Drive Thru Review 306. Today we're going to talk about the castles of the Mad King Ludwig. And this is a brand new game from Bezier Games, was kind of demoed and premiered, so to speak, at Gen Con, but wasn't quite for sale. And this is going to be coming out now through Essen from Bezier Games. So it is sort of like the trilogy capper, you know, the end of the trilogy for the Suburbia and Subdivision and now the Castles of Mad King Ludwig. This one is much more like Suburbia than Subdivision was. Now it's a departure in terms of theme, sort of. Basically you're building castles that are just crazy and, you know, don't really make a whole lot of sense, you know, in some levels for this Mad King Ludwig. And so you're trying to do that, get bonuses, make little kind of combos with the combinations of rooms and things. Let's jump into how the game works, then I'll come back and say what I think. Okay, here you can see just about all the components set up in the game. There's a couple of things to note here. First, you have these different room sizes and types. You can see the types of rooms possible inside each of these stacks based on the iconography there. You also have these bonus cards here. These are cards that players are going to have hidden in the game, so you get, you know, 1 point there for every 2 of your completed rooms, 3 points for each of your round 500 square foot rooms, 2 points for each of your living rooms, which you can see here, you know, some of these 150s will have. So you'll get dealt 3 of these here. You keep 2 and put another one at the bottom of the deck there. You also have these cards here, which are going to be flipped over every round by the master builder, and these are going to show you there the different room sizes that you're going to add to the row. Now each player is going to get a foyer in their color, and they're going to start on the score track there based on a turn order, and one player is going to get the master builder. This is going to go around every round, and this player is responsible for kind of setting the price of the room. So let's say we flipped over to start the game these 6 cards here. So we're going to take rooms out of the stack here. Now you do diminish the stacks of cards and rooms based on the different player counts. But let's see, we got, let's see, there are 2 250s and a 350 and a 450, a 200 and a 150. I'm sorry, not 400, 450, a 150, and I'm missing a 200 here. So we take these, we'll go ahead and discard all of these cards, and this is going to happen every round. Now you're going to go ahead and arrange this as the master builder there, and you've got to kind of figure out what people are going to want to buy. So we take a look here. Let's say I'm just doing this kind of randomly here. So you set those out. So there's a couple of things to note about the room themselves. Now up here in the upper left, you're going to see the number of points you get when you build it. Down here in the corner, you're going to see the type of room. And then in the middle there is sort of a global type of scoring. So this one is 1 point per adjacent living room. Basically, if we look for a room here, let's look in the 450s here. This one here. So we can see there's a living room. So if we had built this one adjacent to that one, then we're going to get the points like so. And then this one in turn has 3 points for either an adjacent activity room or an outdoor room. Now there's some other downstairs rooms and things to take note of, but what's going to happen is the master builder themselves, they're going to arrange these like so. We'll go ahead and put this back here, and they're going to set the price. And then everybody else going around the table is going to be able to buy the room at this cost here. So if I really wanted this one, I could pay $8,000 for it. But you're going to pay that money to the master builder. So everybody's going to go around, maybe pay the master builder. Now if you don't want to buy anything, you can go ahead and take $5,000 here from the bank. You can also buy here stairs or hallways, and these are always going to cost $3,000. Again, that money is going to go to the master builder. If you are the master builder and you want to buy something, you're going to pay the money to the bank, and the master builder can also pass and take $5,000. So let's say these 3 were all bought in the first round, and then the master builder is going to move to the left, and then any rooms that are still left are going to get $1,000 put on them. And then we're going to flip over the cards for the next round. So there's only 3 empty spaces, so we're going to flip over 3 cards. And we got some bigger rooms here. So we got a 500, a 600, and a 250. And these are actually the square footage of the room. And these are 2 outdoor rooms, so we'll just put those there randomly. And now this player can rearrange all of them. They can rearrange the rooms that were there and shift stuff around, you know, do whatever they want like that. And then the same thing is going to proceed everybody to the left of the master builder is going to get a chance to buy these, paying the master builder, and then going around. Now again, when you build a room, you're going to score that many points there in the upper left. You're going to look for any adjacencies. Some of these here are noise makers, and when you build these, you're actually going to lose points there for just being, flush. You don't have to necessarily, be connected with these. I mean, you do to build them, but to get the negative points, you just have to be actually like bumping up against them. So as you build out your castle here, let's just kind of build this a little bit randomly, probably illegally, like so. That is upstairs. So like this one here, so you can see here is a nap room. You can see by the type there, this is Z's. If I had built this one here, then that would be, I'd get the -1 point for like so, where let's say I had built this up here, even though these aren't connected, even though it's adjacent, the noise is actually spilling over, and that's kind of a cool thing. The other thing to keep in mind is you have these outdoor rooms, and you can see these have little fences on the top, and you can never build anything touching that because that doesn't make any sense. And you'd be kind of like, blocking in this outdoor view that you spent so much time building. Now, if you get one of these downstairs rooms, that's actually like a little, you can see by this little staircase. These are pretty cool, but you first need to build a staircase. And again, remember, these cost $3,000. So the staircase, you're going to take the light side, put it on one of your upstairs rooms. Let's say we just did the foyer there, and then now we can start attaching the downstairs here, and that's the only way you can build these. And there's also hallways up here, and these are double-sided. You can be a downstairs hallway or an upstairs hallway, so we're going to connect this. And if we were to build a downstairs hallway, we'd use this side of it. Now, you can never connect, obviously, downstairs to upstairs except through stairs, but you can actually, you could bump the walls against there like so. So the downstairs rooms are a little bit special in that you actually get points globally. So this is 1 point for each of your living rooms, not necessarily, connected to this. Whereas all of the upstairs rooms are always going to be connected. So we can see here, 1 point per other outdoor room, and then of course the noise rooms like so. Now there is a couple other things to keep in mind when you build, and these are the room completion rewards. So once you fully seal off a room, so like this downstairs one here, we take a look at that. We've sealed off all of the exits to this room, and so now we get to do a bonus for that type of room. So let's take a look. When you seal up any activity room, basically anything on that icon, you're just going to get 5 points. If you seal off an outdoor, you get 10,000 bucks. If you seal off one of the food rooms, one of the little cups, you get to take an extra turn. That could be to buy something else or to take the 5,000. Any of these utility rooms, you get to draw an extra bonus card, extra 2 bonus cards, keep one and put the other one underneath there. Living room, you get to rescore that particular room, so score it again. The corridor, place a free hallway or stairs. If you complete anything, that's a corridor, like so. And your initial foyer here, you can see that's a corridor. So once you complete that, you can kind of get your first free stair to start going downstairs. The sleep one is very interesting. These next two are the interesting ones. So if you complete a sleep room, you can choose 0, 1, or 2 rooms from a single stack. You actually take those and put them on the stack of cards here, so that when the next player, when their master builder has a chance to draw cards, they're just going to draw those tiles and put them out until we get back to drawing the cards. So you can do a couple of things with that. You can look at the icons here, of course, and see, oh hey, I need some of these food rooms and something like that, so I can put those there, and because I'm adjacent to getting a bunch of points if those come out, so I can try to seed the deck a little bit and get chances for scoring better. Then we have downstairs, and you only score these on the 2nd, 4th, and 6th ones. But basically for every 2 downstairs rooms you do, you get to pick one of these other bonuses. So these downstairs rooms can be pretty powerful. Then you're going to score the end game favor tiles. If we look at here, whoever is first in each of these tiles is going to get 8 points, 2nd is 4th, and 3rd is 2. This one is the most square footage, and again, that's the number here. You can also see it on the other side there. You can see there's the square footage, 150. You take the square footage of all your sleeping rooms, or the square footage of all your food rooms, and whoever has the most square footage does that. Whoever has the most completed rooms, but there's also a huge stack of these here. A lot of these are square footage. This is just the most of that type of room. Most money, most circular rooms, all kinds of good stuff like that. These are all global for other players to get as well as you. And then you're also going to score, as I showed you at the beginning, the different bonus cards. These are private for you. For every $10,000, you're going to get a point. And then last but not least, if you run out of a stack of cards, let's say we'd run through all of the 600s, And that's one thing you can do with that sleep tile, you know, the one that lets you grab tiles from the stack and put them on the card stack. You can actually do that at the end of the game, not really necessarily to draw these, but just to empty the stack. So if the 600s were empty, every player would get 2 points per 600 that they built. So it's almost like you get the sort of bonuses specializing in that sort of style of room. And that's pretty much how you play the game. Okay, hope you enjoyed the overview. I want to go out on a limb and say that this is my favorite of the trilogy. Now, I've reviewed Suburban, Expansion, and Subdivision recently, just before Gen Con actually. And I like both those games. And this one has a lot going for it. It reminds me in some ways of Medici, which is an old Reiner Knizia game. It just very, very loosely reminds me of it, where you are sort of dictating what the auction in that particular game is going to be like. Now in this one you have the whole rearranging of the little room tiles, and you're really trying to gauge what other people are going to want, and that is very difficult. So the box actually says 90 minutes. And I think with some experience, you could get that down. Now, I haven't seen it get down, you know, like below an hour. I think you get it below an hour, but I think that would take some time, and everybody at the table would have to be experienced, because there's a lot to really assess. Now, you can look at, what the bonus tiles are in the middle, which are going to be big points if you're not involved in that. You know, one guy's going to get 8, you're going to get 0, maybe, if you're not involved at all. So there's that to consider, and that's a good chunk of points. And the bonus tiles or bonus cards in hand are going to be pretty difficult to suss out. But those probably won't be that many points. You can exploit and get like 6-8 points, out of those, which could be the difference in the game. But you're also going to be kind of trying to gauge what they can close off, what other little combos and adjacency, points are going to score. So there's a lot to kind of assess. But you also have this really cool aspect that'll kind of arise where people get kind of low on money. It's really cool how you pay the master builder the money. I love that part of it. But then the master builder, he'll probably siphon off some of that money, kind of flush it out of the system. And then everybody will be kind of low, and everybody's kind of taking like, I'll take 5, I'll take 5. And you get in this kind of like chicken thing, which kind of reminds me of Airlines Europe. If you've ever played that game where I take 8,000, I take 8,000, 8,000, so people kind of build up a massive wealth. That's a pretty cool, interesting concept where the game kind of feels like it's going to end really quickly, but then you hit a couple of those where it's like, okay, now everybody's kind of gauging each other. I know you want that tile. So you can kind of rearrange the tiles, but then everybody takes 5,000. So that's really cool. I really like that aspect of the game. And because of that, it plays well with 2 as well as the others. Because of this whole rearranging thing, you can really kind of, gauge your other opponent. And it's actually a little easier to gauge when it's 2, frankly. So it's cool because it seems like a game that wouldn't play well with 2, but it really does. It also plays 1 player, but I haven't played it 1 player. So this is a lot of stuff going on. I really like how the castle grows out all funky and crazy. I like how the noisemaker rooms, if they're just adjacent, they don't even have to be connected. They're going to kind of hose you up on a little bit of points. So it's got this crazy, funky, cool theme. I mean, in a lot of these games, these Euro games, they're building a castle in the Mediterranean. We've heard that song and dance before. But this is cool. It's like a way different take. It's like, let's build this funky thing that doesn't make any sense architecturally, but some kind of really super rich person that's very involved with themselves or whatever is just building this thing to sort of, on a whim. So it's really neat that way. So there's a lot of cool, interesting, back and forth kind of things that can happen with laying out. I think I'm really just, basically in love with the whole laying out of tiles and rearranging them. It's making these really expensive so you don't get them and you've got to kind of wait for them. And then maybe myself, grabbing them. Now there is some luck involved, and this is kind of where the multiple plays are really going to come in, because you've got to be very, very careful and sort of cognizant about how the stuff is going to come out. And I've done it a number of times where it's like, oh, I'll move this here, and then it's like, oh, I didn't make that expensive enough because the person just nabs it, like I was waiting for that. And so you may have some bonuses, for example, that aren't really in play. So you may have a bonus, like it says, oh, the person that has the most living rooms, then there's only 1 living room that comes out, for an example. That's a bad example, but you can have stuff like that where that becomes crucial. And you can, you've got to really keep your eyes open for those crucial moments. You don't think that it will be that crucial, but it actually is. And so the multiple plays, it is going to reward you. So it's good on that end. It has this very simple, put stuff out. Okay, cool. I'll take that. I'll get this little combo and do my turn and all that stuff. But then you might miss something, which is neat. So, I mean, that's a good thing. But like I said, there can be some AP and stuff, but it seems to fall in the 90 minutes. So yeah, so I'm kind of babbling and gushing here, but it's really, really fun. I would take a look at it. It's coming out, like I said, it's probably my favorite of the three. I really like all three, and they're really all different. A lot of people I was heard that had played this before me were like, oh, it's just like Suburbia. This is the Suburbia. That's not like Suburbia at all. Like, there's some similarities in the same way that Subdivision has some similarities, but gosh, I mean, it's really different. In some ways, it's almost like you're creating that draft row every turn, which is kind of cool. So I can totally see the link there, but it also kind of reminds me of Medici and Medici versus Strauss and some Knizia stuff from however long ago in that regard. So maybe I have those kind of like, changing my perspective. But it's definitely closer to Suburbia than Subdivision in some ways. I don't know, but they're all pretty much linked. If you wanted to have the trilogy, I mean, you kind of have a game for different occasions with all three of them. All right, enough of that. All right. Okay, so definitely take a look at this. I think it's my favorite out of the three. Okay, thanks.